I got it.
Halloween is a magical time of year. There's actually a psychological side to it too. Halloween gives us permission to tap into our shadow side, to explore the unknown and the darker aspects of life that we usually avoid. In a way, it's cathartic. It lets us face fear in a controlled, fun setting. It's not just about being scared, it's about the thrill of opening ourselves up to the mysteries we usually ignore. And if there's anybody who knows how cathartic it can be to detach from yourself, it's Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's recent bizarre interviews have left a lot of people thinking he's either losing his mind or becoming some kind of enlightened spiritual guru who seems fed up with Hollywood and is ready to expose it all.
There's no meaning to any of this. So I wanted to find the most meaningless thing that I could come to and join, and here I am.
They're celebrating.
You got to admit, it's completely meaningless.
Well, they say they're celebrating icons inside.
Celebrating
Do you believe
icons,
in
boy,
icons?
that is just the absolute lowest aim.
A lot of people, including Jim, would tell you that this way of thinking started when he portrayed Andy Kaufman in the movie Man on the Moon. Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond is a documentary about Jim Carrey's transformative experience portraying comedian Andy Kaufman in the 1999 film Man on the Moon. One of my favorite parts of this documentary is where Jim Carrey explains that he feels as if the characters he's portraying are wrestling for control and he can't help but switch characters mid-conversation, leaving the crew pleading for Jim to come back.
Fucking is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't smoke. Yeah. You're dreaming.
Is it you in the dream? Is it Andy in the dream, or is it Tony in the dream?
Everybody. Everybody's in the dream, and they're all pulling, I had a wrestling match with Andy and Tony last night.
Every actor goes through it when they take on a role for a long time. You've heard the stories,
Now somebody give me a fucking drink. You give me a drink?
No, go away.
What?
Go away.
Wait!
No, what? Don't go back.
Stay! Who's you and me? I'm not going.
I know, but...
Milos called me about 2 weeks into shooting, and he said, "I don't know what to do. I have never dealt with anyone like Andy."
I'll check with him.
Check with him and let me know.
I'll let you know. I'll get him to call you.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good, very good.
Deal.
I'm so exhausted, I'm so exhausted.
I understand.
And Tony Clifton, I have never been intimidated by another man. And I am intimidated by Tony Clifton. And I said, well, we could fire them and I could do an impression. I'm a really good impressionist, and I could do a pretty good imitation of both of them, I think. And then there was silence on the phone, and then Milos said, "No, I don't want to stop it. I just wanted to talk to Jim."
I'm Batman.
This is one of the greatest examples of method acting I've ever seen, up there with Christian Bale's The Machinist or Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker. And Jim Carrey expressed that when this movie wrapped up and he had to be Jim Carrey again, it was one of the hardest times of his life. After portraying Andy Kaufman, Jim Carrey found it so hard to be himself again that it made him question whether or not Jim Carrey ever existed to begin with. Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker was dark, disturbing, and a lot of people didn't even recognize that it was Heath Ledger. So, the disturbing character he portrayed, coupled with his untimely death, left a lot of people to speculate whether the character had anything to do with his untimely demise. The idea that playing the Joker led to Heath Ledger's death is a common myth, but it's more complex than that. Ledger died from an accidental overdose of prescription medications including painkillers, anti-anxiety drugs, and sleeping pills in January 2008, before The Dark Knight was released. In interviews, he mentioned that he was struggling with insomnia and found it hard to turn off his mind after playing such an intense character. However, he had also been dealing with personal stressors and a busy work schedule, all of which likely contributed to his physical and mental health challenges at the time. So, while playing the Joker may have contributed to his insomnia and stress, most experts and those close to him believe his death was a tragic accident influenced by a combination of personal and professional pressures rather than the role itself.
And I think sometimes people that exist so completely in their character and maybe not know how to get out of it or how to take another road might take the ultimate road, you know, where they have to actually leave the planet, you know, to get out.
Carrey is not only a talented actor and comedian, but also an example of someone who came from humble beginnings and overcame many obstacles. From being homeless for a time growing up to finally getting a hit role on the TV show In Living Color after countless rejections in the entertainment industry. Jim also has a very interesting relationship with the law of attraction, manifestation, and divination.
You know, I mean, I'm the guy who wrote the $10 million check to himself and had it come to fruition. I'm the guy who had the substitute teacher in grade 2 who said that, you know, whenever I want something, I pray to the Virgin Mary and I ask her for it and I promise something in return and I get whatever I want.
So didn't you write yourself a check? I heard that you did. Is that true?
I wrote myself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered, and I gave myself 5 years.
My dad could never afford a bicycle, so I went, okay. And I went home and I prayed for a bicycle and promised I'd say the rosary in return, and then I got a bicycle. Showed up in my living room. Brand new Mustang bike. I put it in one of the scenes in Eternal Sunshine. A Mustang bike with a banana seat.
Just before Thanksgiving 1995, I found out that I was going to make $10 million.
So you visualized.
From then on, it was whenever I wanted something to happen, I manifested it. I stood there in an open field like this with my arms out going, I'm ready, come on.
But Halloween is more than just a night where we get to be somebody else. It's an acknowledgement that not everything that happens fits into our neat little box of understanding, and a realization that it's in our human nature to have a curiosity for the unexplained. An understanding that we still have pagan roots in this modern world, with the great example being the show Black Mirror, which is a show that critiques modern technology, whilst the name Black Mirror is an ancient divination tool used by practitioners of the occult. The year is 2024. It's an election year. Many people are looking forward to Halloween so that they can escape the hardships of their regular life. Many of us will imbibe spirits. Some of us will get lost in the sauce, act a fool. You won't be able to remember what happened, and it'll leave people wondering what got into them.
I'm Batman.